Let's turn to USDB board meeting. This is for the public's awareness. This board is also the local board of education for the Utah Schools for the Deaf and Blind. So we are going to turn ourselves into that body. Sorry? Oh, yeah. And we would like to excuse Superintendent Coleman, but we've got his able assistant superintendents, directors. I always botch titles. Thank you for being with us. We'll turn it to whoever wants to take the lead. Thank you for joining us. We got Carl, Michelle, and Susan, and you can do the formalities if you wouldn't mind.
Okay. I said good morning. We missed Superintendent Coleman. Hopefully he will find time to join us on remotely. That would be nice. And we're just going to turn the time over to Carl, Director Empty.
Let me just, I think Superintendent's at a conference. He was previously excused and let us know he wouldn't be here. So we understand he's unavailable, but thank you all for being with us. He may try to cut out if he can. Okay.
Oh, I can use Dr. Tanner's. Good morning and happy holidays, everyone. Wanted just to present the financial report for the first 4 months that ended October 31st. I know November just ended and we're in December, and Finet just closed out their books for the month, so we're working on those financials, and we'll present those next month to you. We remain to be financially solvent, so good news, we've got plenty of cash on hand to pay all of our operating expenses. Our revenues through October 31st were just, and I'm going to round these numbers up, $18 million. Our expenses were $15.4 million, so we had $2.6 million more in revenues than we did expenses. The number of students served, I'm going to put my glasses on for this, is the USD campus students that we have on campus, 317. The total students receiving services is 1,929, and the total services provided to students are 3,961, for a total of 6,207. And then our three balances in the funds that we report to you are on our enrichment funds, which is the land grant trust fund, is $409,000, $75,000. Our donated fund balance is $253,087, and our education foundation is $1 million. Thank you, Jerry. $1,159,040. The next 2 pages behind this is the budget status report, and that just provides all the supporting data and detail for the numbers that we just reported on. Then the third report is our land grant enrichment fund project list. We have spent, we have approved, of $1,049,000 for the year. And we have spent $705,719. So, that's our balance. I'm sorry, my printout. We have spent, $343,281, leaving us a balance of $705,000. So I'd be happy to answer, Mr. Chair, any questions that you or your board may have.
Board members, questions, comments for Director MP? Member Wood.
I just wanted to make one recommendation under your enrichment fund project.
Okay.
I know we'll be talking about the carryover funds.
Yes.
But there is a duplicate line item on the Deaf Mentor program. It's typically paid for out of this fund. I was wondering if we could eliminate that 420,000 request just because it is in the carryover list.
Yes, we'll be happy to do that, Board Member Wood.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Member Bogus.
I
I was just wondering if Superintendent Coleman thought this would be a good time to address the email we received earlier.
Superintendent Coleman, we see you've had a chance to join us. Are we, is that related to this item, the budget item?
I believe it is, but I could be incorrect.
It may be a contract
Sounds-
item. I think there's an email that referenced a contract that's an action item 4.5. Is that, am I
That
getting
is,
that right?
that is
So,
correct.
so maybe we can hold that. I do think that's part of the discussion.
That's
Would
fine
that be all
with
right?
me.
Okay,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you for bringing that up. So we'll get to a contract in 4.5. Anything further to the budget report? Okay. Back
And then,
to you.
Mr. Chair, I can report on that contract if you want to do that now, because this would be an action item.
You bet. Have we covered? So I had a couple, the deafblind and superintendent report.
Okay.
I don't know what Superintendent Coleman's time is. I know he's occupied. Joel, what's the best time to cut in and to do the contract? Do you want your a superintendent report time now, or should we go to the contract?
No, I'm fine. I'm here at your disposal.
Well, let's not get carried away. Well, we're happy to have you though. Okay, let's turn to the contract then, I guess, and we can review and then have questions.
Okay, the contract before you for your consideration, discussion, and vote is to remodel our bathrooms up on our Ogden campus that are ancient and in dire need of repair. The contract is for $202,917. The vendor that we picked is Utah Northern Construction. They are a state vendor, and so we're using the state's procurement purchasing department contract. And we also have entered into an agreement with DFCM. They'll be providing oversight through Gordian, their construction manager. The construction will commence next month. It could be later this month or next month. This has been a project we've been trying to get underway for months, if not over a year. So we are excited and hoping that we get your approval today.
Thank you. So this is an action item. We'll be seeking action. Member Bogus, should we turn back to you? Did you want to address the email or turn it to Superintendent Coleman? Okay. So the board received an email, Superintendent Coleman, that you responded to, and we all saw it. Questions raised. Could you address that and your response to the constituent or public question that was raised?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So the email was from constituent.
Thank you, Superintendent. So maybe I got this wrong. This is not actually related to the action item that we're seeking to vote on. Okay, I thought there was some connection there. All right, I apologize. So that was related to a budget item reference. What we've got, did that answer your question though, Member Bogus? And I'm sorry I conflated the two, but yeah, thank you. And I thought it was related to the action item. Director Empey.
Mr. Chair, maybe we can have Superintendent Coleman discuss. Scott Jones, Deputy Scott Jones, just pointed out that the question in the email addressed the cost of $250,000 to move the portable from Mill Creek over to the OEC JMS campus. And the related cost, Scott? Oh, okay. So do you want to?
My mistake then. I'll have to respond to that constituent again. That's the cost that it already cost us to move the portable. not the money we have set aside to move it again in a few years. So thanks for clarifying that.
And Deputy Jones just said that
It oh, sorry. Scott just said that it was probably addressing both, Joe, as far as what the constituent was asking.
Okay, further comment, question to that item? Let's turn back to the immediate action item before us then, which is, yeah, so the contract with Northern Construction, the grand total of $202,917.14. Let's see, have we answered any questions board members have about that action item? Member Hymas.
Thank you, Chair. Just a quick question. I see in here that we're putting in new quartz countertops, and I don't know what's necessary. I don't know if I have quartz in my home, let alone my bathroom. It sounds expensive, about $60 per square foot. Is this something? This comes on the heels of I've just seen a lot of building and a lot of cost go into buildings where it's like it's a bathroom, right? So is that something that we say, hey, we need this? I don't know if it's going to reduce the cost enough. This is just in the contract portion. Northern Construction will demo these, right? And it talks about what they're going to do. And then in there it says they will install a fabricated carrier cage with a veneer face. I don't know what that means. New quartz countertops, new sinks, okay. Reinstall salvaged faucets. Great, love it, right? We're putting money into a school, and I understand it's a beautiful school, and we want to keep it beautiful. I'm just wondering if we are looking at spending on things that are just kind of unnecessary, where we could put money in better places.
I think I can answer that.
Superintendent Coleman, please.
Yeah, it's a really great question. This is essentially the same kind of a renovation that happened right across the hallway from our board, with the bathrooms there. The solid surface countertops are used because they're more durable. If you went up and looked at the bathrooms we're renovating in Ogden right now, they're plastic laminate, and they chip, and they do not endure like solid surface does. So it's not fancy like marble or granite or anything like that, but quartz is I believe it's the most pragmatic and affordable solid surface that's appropriate for a commercial.
All right, thank you, Superintendent. I think it raises a great question that we're always trying to find the cheapest sources, and these numbers are amazing. Not cheapest, least expensive. Thank you, Vice Chair Hart. It's been a while, but my first house was, I think, 200 and something, and now we're talking about bathrooms, right? So, great point, Member Hymas, that we're making sure that we look for the most cost-efficient. Member Hymas again.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that response and what we're trying to do here, and I appreciate the fact that we only want to do this once in the next few decades, right? So thank you for that clarification. Chair, if I'm okay to make a motion here?
Certainly.
I move that the board approves the USDB Ogden campus admin restroom contract.
Okay, is there a second? It's been seconded. Any further discussion to the motion? If not, do we have everybody here? Or we can use the system?
Cindy is not online. Everybody is present.
We are still present, so we can use the system, so. Okay. All right, well, let us open that up then for voting. Oh, there we go. Got it.
What kind of a tap does it require?
Just no, tap on the screen.
There you go, not the speak.
Okay. So we're just missing one, right? We're looking for 14? We've got 12 so far, 13.
We're
Missing just one. Oh, okay. We got it. Okay, all having voted, that's unanimous in the affirmative. 14, where Member Davis is not with us. So that passes. Thank you very much. Back to you, USDB team.
Okay, well, I think that is my cue. I'm excited today to present to you on our Deafblind Services Division, and just a quick little intro on this. We are, in the state of Utah, we have a very, very unique system for deafblind services that serves students who have, well, I shouldn't say just students, birth through age 21 of children and teenagers who have both the vision and the hearing loss. And the definition in a real easy way to understand it is that deafblindness is the child or the person does not have enough vision to compensate for their hearing, nor do they have enough hearing to compensate for their vision. And if you think about that for just a minute, you think about the way your world would be skewed. Again, our deaf population, our deaf and hard of hearing, are relying on their vision, and our blind and low vision population are relying on their hearing. You know, those are our two main distance senses. And so the kids that we are serving in deafblind services, they have, actually, we only have one student, well, I shouldn't say one, we have a couple students who have no vision and no hearing. But for the most part, they have some residual hearing, some residual vision. But I just want you to understand that's the definition. Not enough vision to compensate for their hearing, not enough hearing to compensate for their vision. And so with that, I will start our little presentation and then take questions afterwards.
Good job. Let's make it big. Deafblind Services. 2, 3. Erin Farrer Cook, Deafblind Services.
We serve students birth to 22 who have both a vision and hearing loss, so they're considered deafblind.
Kristen Corbett, teacher of the deafblind.
So we serve our students in a variety of locations. It really depends on each individual student. We do have some students that are on campuses at the schools for the deaf and blind, but we have a lot that are out in the school districts. We have some that we serve in home if they, health-wise need to be served at home. Preschools, high schools, just wherever they are, we go.
A series of images include students who are deafblind with their teachers, interveners, and other service providers.
In deafblind services, with the students that we work with, it's all about personalizing the education for them. Every student is different and their needs are different, so that's what we do. We are all about personalizing the services that we provide, and that includes just very specific deafblind strategies to help students with their communication, to help them with access, to help them with scheduling, to help them with just overall making sure that they're accessing and keeping up with what's going on in their educational setting.
As a teacher, we definitely use different types of technology with our students. Some of the technology is more high-tech. It might be depending on their communication system. It might be different listening devices. And then some of our technologies load more of the low-tech, tactile cues, object cues, picture cues. So we use a variety just depending on each individual student.
We do adaptive technology for both high-tech and low-tech. A lot of our students are using object cues for prompting, scheduling, communication. We have students that are using more high-tech voice output systems that are providing them with opportunities to communicate if maybe that language isn't their first mode of communication, and pretty much everything in between. We have students who are using switches to access, to be able to answer questions or to make choices. So technology is a big part of what we're providing for our students to help make sure that they have access to what they need.
So in Utah, we are very unique than other states in the nation. We have teachers of the deaf-blind, we have interveners that are provided by different funding sources, And most of the states do not have all of those resources. And so we're kind of a model for the other states.
Here in Utah, our deafblind program is so unique, and we are really grateful for the support we have. We have financial support from our legislature that most states don't get. So we can have a very robust intervener program where we can provide students with that individual one-on-one support as needed.
What I would like some people to know about students with deaf blindness is that they're individuals. They're unique. They have different personalities, different likes, different dislikes, and it's up to us to get to know them and to be able to use those preferences they have and likes and dislikes and help them. That they have feelings. They're just like you and I. They can be happy, they can be stressed, they can be sad, and to really remember that they are individuals with feelings and preferences.
Every one of our students is so unique and so important and has so much to offer. It's just a matter of us figuring out ways that we can pull that out and get inside and figure out what's going on and help them to be the best that they can and to offer what they have to the rest of the world. And that's our main goal.
So Aaron and Kirsten said it very well. Our state here, our state, we have in 1996 we were able to receive funding for what's called interveners, and interveners work one-on-one with a student that you're totally fine. They work one-on-one with the student to help them access their world. So that could be accessing peers, accessing their teachers, accessing different communication systems. And when a child is deemed necessary, interveners necessary by the IEP team, not all of our students who are deafblind in the state of Utah receive intervener services. That intervener is placed with them one-on-one, and that's their sole responsibility, is to facilitate communication and help them access their world. I have a real passion for deafblind because that's where I started. I started as an intervener in 1997, and I could see the impact. The student that I served, who has since passed years ago, she was very complex, and her disabilities were extremely complex. And I was able to see how me being there, and it wasn't just me, it was the role of me and the support that I was receiving to help her, really did improve the quality of life that she had. And it caught me, and you know what? I wasn't even going to go into education, and then all of a sudden here I am, so 25 years later. So some statistics as far as demographic information, we have right now 136 students statewide who receive deafblind services. All students who are identified, not necessarily classified deafblind under IDEA, but identified as deafblind, receive the support of a deafblind teacher through USDB. That is different than other services that we have at USDB. It doesn't matter what district the student or charter school that the district or the student is in. They could be in one of the larger districts. They're still receiving support from a deafblind teacher because of the level of expertise. We're placed in 69 schools, 21 LEAs across the state, including our campus programs, although we have very few of our students that are in campus programs. Typically, they're in their local LEAs or in their charter schools. Homeschooled students, private schools, and early intervention. And like I said before, we do serve from 0 to age 3. Those students do not receive an intervener. Our priority there is to educate and to teach parents on those communication strategies so that it's a lifelong strategy that they can implement in the home. We currently have 15 teachers of the deafblind. All but 2 of those teachers have a deafblind endorsement. And I will say also that the state of Utah was the first to receive an endorsement in deafblind. Now there's a few more states. Illinois has one and Texas has one. But we're the first. We're proud of that, as you can see. And then right now we have 48 interveners. And it's important to note too that the students that we serve, as you can see in these pictures, there's one student who is playing a trumpet, and there's a couple different pictures of her, and then there's another student holding up a piece of artwork, another student who is with her intervener, actually giving her, embracing her, and then another on the side, she's smiling. And then another student who is in preschool, and she has no vision and has a severe loss in hearing. These students all range, they show a very, very large spectrum of disabilities. We have kids who might only have deafblindness, all the way to kids who have extremely complex needs. And with that, I'm going to show this last video and then answer any questions that you might have.
I'm Griffin and I'm from Stansbury Park, Utah. I want to go to school to get my major in economics and minor in political science.
That little guy was saying, please eat. He was not signing pizza. He was saying,
Right.
please eat, please eat.
And our students who are deafblind, they have, when they do sign, we use different strategies such as tactile sign language. But this little guy, as you can see, his signing is, as Michelle was identifying, the signing is very modified because what they're seeing is not really correct of the interpretation of the signs that somebody is signing to them. So with that is our deafblind services. I'd want to mention one other thing. We receive a grant, which a few months ago, I think we had to reapply for that grant in, I think it was August, was our last cycle, the start of our cycle was this October. From OSEP, it's a federal grant, and it's in the amount of about $10,000 per year. That grant is a training and technical assistance grant, and that is given to every state or a group of states, such as New England has a group of states that receive that grant. And that is for training statewide for each state. Our state, lots of states have to use that grant, and they have a larger grant possibly, or even possibly a smaller grant depending on the state. They use that for funding purposes for personnel. So what their model, it could be that they actually have a team of maybe 2 or 3 people that are serving students who are deafblind statewide. So they'll send a team to do like a consultation, to do an observation and a consultation, write up a report. Here's what we think you should do to local school districts and local teams. Here in the state of Utah, we have that OSEP grant, but we're funded by state money that allows us to have 15 teachers of the deafblind and 40 interveners that we're paying the salaries for. That's making all of the difference. So you need to know that you're a big part of this as far as the work in deafblind, because it is substantial compared to other states. In fact, when we go to other conferences statewide, they actually don't really want to hear from Utah because it's kind of like the land of plenty with deafblind, which we know that that's not always the case in everything we're doing, right? But they're always like, yeah, Utah, we don't need to hear from you as far as the problems that you're experiencing versus other states. Anyway, that's our deafblind services. Any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Member Bogus?
Thank you. So you use the terminology classified versus identified.
Yes.
And in the education world, that means different things, and it has pros and it has cons.
Yes.
And I'm wondering if, for the benefit of all of us, but as well as the public, if
Sure.
you could delineate maybe the pros and cons of classified versus identified and what that means in your world.
So every student in special education under IDEA has to have a classification, and it's one of the 13 classifications in special education. Deafblind is one of those classifications, one of those 13 classifications. However, when you're looking at classification, the IEP team is looking at what best describes that student as far as their disabilities are concerned. Now, for deafblind, our students with deafblindness, a lot of times they have additional disabilities along with their deafblindness. They don't necessarily, it's not just vision and it's not just hearing. So a classification of hearing impaired, which is what it is, even though we don't love that. We don't like that terminology, but that's what it is under the classification. Hearing impaired or visually impaired, those don't meet those needs because they have the combination. So deafblind could meet those needs. However, if we have something like cerebral palsy that's involved, if we have an intellectual disability that's involved, if we have a traumatic brain injury, all of those are also classifications amongst those 13. So we have a lot of times our students with deafblindness are classified with as an MD or multiply disabled. So when I say classified, it's including our students who are classified as deafblind, but I also just identified as deafblind. So they can have a different classification and still receive services from a teacher of the deafblind or from USDB. Does that answer that question? Okay, thank you. It's a complex issue, and there's argument about that, whether or not, but we can't be classifying kids deafblind if they do have additional disabilities. So.
Any other comments, questions? All right, thank you for a
Thank
very
you.
detailed report. Let's see, what's up next on our... Sure. Always. Let's just, does that conclude our USDB presentations though, or do we have? Okay, yeah. So yeah, I think we've got a potential break after.
Yes, he's right there.
Vice Chair Earl?
Yeah, yes, am I on now? I just want to,
Yeah.
I'm just going back to the carry forward. I just wanted to make sure, can you help me find the USIMAC pieces that are in there? Are there pieces built into that with the carry forward funding? There are no pieces built into that. So what does that look like?
Would you like me to answer?
Well, either way, I'm just trying to
I'm
figure out.
happy.
'Cause we had a little bit of a
or Joel-
discussion about that, so I wanted to make sure.
Joel, do you want to
Yeah.
talk to that?
Sure, I can do that. So, I'm sorry, by the way, that I missed the carry forward discussion earlier. I thought the meeting was starting later, so I missed that. But anyway, the assignment was moved because after discussing with Superintendent Jones, Board Member Earl, Deborah Jacobson, we decided it was better to not have the appearance that we were going to use one-time funds for ongoing needs. So USDP will just fund the operational level in future years, which will reduce our future carry forwards. We won't dedicate current carry forward money to that for this next year.
Okay, I guess I was thinking that there was going to be some carry forward funding applied to that. That's why I was trying to understand where we're at on that. I don't know if there's some clarity there.
That was
You wanna
our
get that?
original plan.
Okay, yeah.
And
But after talking to Superintendent Jones, he kind of thought we'll probably have enough in our operational budget, so it'll reduce our future carry forward, so to speak.
So we'll
We'll
use
use current operational
money for that,
and
We won't have an item of ongoing funding in our one-time carry.
Okay,
list.
that's where I wanted some clarity there, just to make sure we're using the current funding for that and not the carry forward. right? Am I understanding that
Right.
right? Okay, okay.
And Board Member Earl, also,
Yeah.
if I could say, the funded request was for 8 additional full-time positions. So we won't be hiring the 8 full-time positions. We will only be funding the 600,000, like Joel said, and using operational funds or other funding so that we won't be hiring those 8 new positions. So we still will be out of compliance with that.
Okay, so, and I'm just trying to think, so is there, the harm in using carry forward funding is that it may not be available for the next year? Am I, let me
Correct.
I just want to make sure we're, right? And we don't want to
Yes.
hire positions based on that, so.
Correct.
So that would be just something we need to keep in mind moving forward,
Yes.
correct? Okay, I just wanted to make sure I understood that. I'm done.
Okay, back to you. Superintendent?
That's all I have for today.
Okay, Assistant Superintendent, excuse me.
It's all
Go ahead.
good. Associate Superintendent Tanner. I just wanted to thank those of you who completed the survey that we sent out about the accreditation and just let you know that we'll be going through that, with the visit. They come from the Schools for the Deaf. We have 4 accreditors coming. That will happen in February. They do, it's right in the middle. I know you guys are in the middle of the legislative session, but they will love to chat with you and have a focus group meeting with you. Anyway, I'm in the middle of doing that, doing lots of focus groups right now, gathering all that data, getting a very comprehensive, it's going to be almost 200 pages of a report on everything we've studied and everything we've gained. And I look forward to sharing that with you, hopefully in January, and hopefully you can participate in February. And the other thing too is we're in the middle of our basketball season, and you are welcome to attend those games. When we send the calendar out, you can see when those are. That you can also participate online this time. We have a ability to live stream, so we'll send those links out and get that out to you. Those are fun games. They're hard for my heart. Every time someone falls down, I'm like, no. But they're doing great, and the students absolutely love basketball. And it's drawn out several students from the mainstream, which is a great thing to see. We also have a trip we're planning for going to Washington, D.C., where the students are going to study about the political process. They're going to spend time over at Gallaudet in talking to them about the political process, and hopefully meet some of their legislators while they're up there. And senators, and it'll be a great experience. And then, of course, we're still planning. We just announced we have the students who are going to be able to go and attend Egypt after a thorough vetting process. So that's what we've been doing.
Okay. Questions, comments to that part? Not seeing any. Back to you.
So for
Thank
the
you,
School for
Michelle.
the Blind, we did our Luminari event on November 15th, and we are doing another Luminari event a week from yesterday on the December 13th, because of the amount of people that wanted to come, the students and the families. And so we originally had 400 tickets that were gifted to us from Thanksgiving Point, which was very, very generous. And then on the waiting list, we had over 800 people on a waiting list. So we added another night, and it's been a great partnership with Thanksgiving Point. They've been extremely generous to us. So we will be doing that again on Wednesday of this next week, which we're excited about. We also are getting ready for our stateside adventure, which will be this spring. Right now, we have 18 kids that have expressed interest, and we're right now in the process of them going through all of that application for the stateside adventure. So we're excited about that. And then also you did receive an email from, I think, both Michelle and I as far as future events. I know that there's a lot of information on there, but please read through it, look at it, and we're more than happy to have you attend, or even if you have questions about it, we're really happy to answer any questions. There's just too much to talk about in just this short amount of time. So anyway, we're more than happy to answer questions and have you guys attend.
Thank you, Susan. We'll watch for that. Member Wood.
I do have one more question, and I did email you about this,
Yes.
but I was wondering if you had done any research on the blind mentors, the stipends for $5,000 apiece.
Yes, so I did email you back, but maybe I didn't send that because that has happened before, where it will be stuck in my drafts. So the blind mentors are college age students. Typically, they're going to school at Weber State Weber State University, and their room and board is taken care of, and so the $5,000 is a stipend, and they are able to stay there at in the residences with our students, and they're there to teach what they have learned as far as expanded core curriculum skills are concerned. So the $5,000 is just a stipend on top, but their room and board is already covered.
Yes, and you did respond. You didn't clarify that they were Weber State students.
Yeah,
so
usually
that
they
was
are. I
helpful.
shouldn't
Yeah.
say that's not necessarily a qualification
Okay.
because we have had mentors that aren't necessarily university students, but they're involved in another work program or something. But they they are involved in something as far as outside work, outside college, and a trade school or something. We've had one that has gone to Davis Tech. So we want our students to be able to see the older kids, college age kids that are moving on and being productive.
And is the $5,000 sufficient for them?
I don't know.
That
I
was
mean,
my-
yeah,
that was the
it's-
bigger picture.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had anybody nobody said that isn't enough because typically they do have outside work as well. But I can't really say that. I mean, to me, it seems like it's low, but again, they're room and board, and then they do usually have outside because during the day they're involved with kids during the afternoon and night. However, they're not involved with every single activity either. So that's how that works. But that's something that we need to investigate again because I think that was the amount that was given years ago as far as when that program was just barely started. So it probably is time to look at increasing that number.
Great. That's super helpful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Superintendent.
I had misspoken earlier when I said that's all I had. There are two other items. One really quickly. One is I just went and reviewed the email from the constituent today. It was our future earmarking for one day when we moved the portable to Ogden. So I was right in the first place about that. And then the second item is I thought I'd let the board know that we just received word about 2 days ago from DFCM that they finally assembled a team to get started on the USDB facilities strategic statewide plan. And so they just sent out a doodle poll this morning to schedule the first meeting with the team that they put together. So we're finally going to get the ball rolling on that.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, back to the team. We're sort of just bouncing around, but thank you for all of those. I want to make sure we cut every item in here. So, any questions generally or to a specific item for our superintendent or the team for Carl, Michelle, or Susan? Okay. Well, thank you as always for being with us and appreciate your time and effort. All right. Let us take a break. Superintendent Dixon has told me we've got a good food opportunity.
And it's donated from the Utah Public Employees. I was trying to think of the P part, Public Employees Association.
Utah Public Employees Association. Thank you. We are about to take a break, and let's do 10 minutes. Well, we can probably do 5 and get back on, right? Let's say 5.